From the moment that I first came to Miami, I said every industry is a tech industry. Philanthropy is very important, but it's the business community and the business people who are going to keep things going.
Miami is a really young city compared to these other mega markets that we continuously hear about. And it's really growing into a major destination for these founders. How would you describe its evolution?
The word I would more use is that we're emerging, and with that comes evolution. Rather than just purely a tech ecosystem, I think it's all about immersion of technology into the business ecosystem here, and that's going to be really important.
Hi everyone, I'm Suzette Leboy, the Editorial Director for Opportunity Miami. Today we are joined by Johanna Mikkola with Tech Equity Miami. Johanna, thank you for joining us.
It's such a pleasure to be here, thank you.
You're the new CEO of Tech Equity Miami, and a big part of your work here in the tech scene is building this tech equity here in Miami. And we've been seeing this tech boom here, but we haven't been seeing the benefits really dispersed between all the different communities. So can you just outline what you're seeing and what you're tackling?
Yeah, thanks so much. I mean, this is really exciting work, and it's such an exciting time to be in Miami. Miami's always had that buzz of excitement, neon lights, opportunity, come here, be whoever you want to be. But right now is a really unique opportunity with the people, the companies, the resources that have come into Miami. And so it's a real opportunity and time to seize that momentum, seize those resources, to make it strong for everyone, to make Miami an amazing place to be, place to start a career, launch a family, launch a business, whatever that might be. And so we want to be part of that journey in helping build a strong foundation here in Miami. Simply put, we have a 5-year initiative to deploy $100 million to initiatives that build that strong Miami I was talking about. And I know we'll get into those pillars of what constitutes a strong foundation as it relates to Tech Equity Miami. Really proud to say that we have over 70 million committed from the consortium and just over 63 million deployed. It was founded in 2022, so have a little bit of track record already, but really looking to the future and bringing in the business community so that we are building together. And I couldn't be more excited, and what an honor to be in this position for an ecosystem that has really given me so much.
Well, it's great to see also, to your point, that Miami has all this buzz and the color and excitement. It's good to see it finally transition to the tech community too, which hasn't been playing out from previous years. And why don't we go into then your trajectory? You started off in Miami doing WinCode in 2014 was it? What was the scene like then?
We started looking at Miami as founders to launch our business, our ed tech company WinCode, in 2013, moved in 2014 to Wynwood, of course, of all places, which has transformed dramatically. And I feel like it's kind of a small example of what's happened across the city overall. When we moved, there were 2 places to eat in Wynwood, and now it's like, we all know the biggest restaurants are there. There's people, tourists and people who work there every day. People are living in Wynwood. At the time when we started, it was totally incomprehensible that anybody would actually live in Wynwood as well. And so a lot has transformed, and that's really a picture of what's been happening across Miami. And so back in 2014, it was so much opportunity to come and help build an ecosystem. We really wanted to be part of building something and building a wave. And to be honest, while we've had progress and more people, resources, opportunities have come here, that opportunity remains, in my mind, just as strong today as it did in 2014. So we've had progress in 10 years. There are more people and resources here, but we still have a lot of work to do. And we also want more tech companies. I mean, there's been great financial companies coming in. Our catalyzing partner for Tech Equity Miami is JP Morgan Chase, who has been an absolute phenomenal partner. Tech Equity would not have happened without them. They committed $10 million over 5 years to be deployed through Tech Equity Miami. Our most recent consortium members, Blackstone, both have exceptional teams, building tech teams, but we also want to work to engage more of the tech companies and help organizations like Beacon Council bring in amazing tech companies, which many are looking at Miami right now. So maybe just to kind of recap on Tech Equity, we're the bridge between funders and vetted initiatives to build a strong Miami. And so what we do is we work with the business community to provide them with a structured pathway to give and to have a positive impact on the ecosystem, to initiatives that in many cases also align with business objectives as well as community objectives. And so we're the bridge between that, the trusted bridge, giving a structure, and then also measuring our collective impact, which can be really challenging at times. So We are working very hard to be both qualitative and quantitative in the work that we're doing.
That's great. And just to kind of circle back, you joke about Winwood back in the day, if you will. How was the tech scene in terms of the reception of what you were trying to build? Was it, this is not just the location, but the actual concept of bridging this tech equity? Was it well received?
When we first started with WinCode? Yeah, when we first started with WinCode, we knew one other person in South Florida. And that one person said, it's not the place you want to come and start a company. It's the place where people come to vacation. And that was actually the appeal for us. We really wanted to live and work where we also wanted to vacation. And we've all heard that saying. But that is what we get to do, and it's a huge opportunity to live in such a beautiful tropical paradise where you can also build a career, build a family, raise capital, build technology. I think most people thought that, particularly for myself, from Finland, moving here from Canada, those are both really big tech markets, Helsinki and Toronto. A lot of people were surprised that we didn't pick a New York or maybe an Austin, which was also on our radar, but Miami represented the biggest opportunity to have the biggest impact. I think now what's happened is there's a lot of momentum here and there's a lot of things happening, and we have an opportunity that the things are happening in silos or happening that are not connected is to bring more connectivity to the large and smaller initiatives that are happening. And that's really the work that we're trying to do, is to bring players together so that we can further scale and have a greater impact in all the work that we're doing, whether it's in the community for equity or for companies to advance, like small businesses, to advance our K-12 STEM education here in South Florida, which is a huge need and an opportunity. So lots on the go.
And it's great to see the conversation changing and the narrative changing too,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
So it comes to full circle. So why don't we now do a deep dive of tech equity in Miami? I know you described it as a bridge. You discussed a $100 million investment over the 5 years. Can you also just discuss the pillars?
Yeah, absolutely. So Tech Equity Miami has 4 pillars that we're focused on. And the 4 pillars is where we designate initiatives and projects, and then we work to get funders to provide resources to those initiatives. We're focused on K-12 STEM education, digital transformation for small businesses, so making sure that they're digitizing and in turn becoming more resilient and earning more revenue. We're focused on talent, so anything related to workforce development, making sure that South Floridians and Miamians are getting the skills and training that they need to thrive here in South Florida. And last is access, which is really focused on broadband access, making sure that we're a connected city, because how can you participate, in the tech ecosystem without actually digitally being connected? And really proud to say that Miami Connected was a designated project, and the Miami Foundation and Rebecca and the team and Jorge have done amazing work with Miami Connected, and looking forward to seeing the continued work happen there as well.
And in those 4 pillars, where does Miami rank today compared to the other major communities you mentioned in terms of these pillars?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would actually say on the K-12 side, we are doing fairly well, but I would say, and on small business, we're one of the most robust. So there's the most entrepreneurs and small businesses. I would say the bedrock of Miami is small businesses, because there's such a high number of them here. But I would say, on the K-12, for example, where we are at, while it's good and we have incorporation of STEAM and STEM, I think the main point is that we could be better, even when you are comparing to other geos. So the goal is that we really want to increase the levels of reading comprehension, math aptitude, and make sure that kids are being set up at a young age, not only with the skills they need and the aptitude, but also the inspiration to get into it. And so I would say equity and inclusion is really important, because we are an ecosystem of immigrants. We are a very diverse ecosystem, so we need to make sure that there's representation in the tech ecosystem so that kids are inspired and see themselves and see it as a genuine pathway. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity. I think Miami is growing all the time, but I think across all those pillars, the reason they're pillars is because there is a lot of opportunity to improve and grow where we're at. Just seeing Miami winning, in things like the Good Jobs Challenge with the EDA, which brought $10 million here. We recently became a climate tech hub. And there's more coming. So I think not only do we believe in Miami and the need for building a strong ecosystem, but to see federal support and federal resources to do that is really, it's really exciting.
Miami's getting so much attention because of all this federal eyes and money coming to us for these different initiatives. And I'm wondering, what is missing in terms of what we should be doing? Or if there's like a major challenge that you're hoping can kind of be like the next problem to solve? Yeah,
that's a great question as well. In addition to, the federal moment, the dollars that are coming federally and that excitement, it goes without saying that, the Citadels and the Blackstones and the Millenniums who have recently come, that's still big news, even though it's settled, that news has settled and they've all settled into Miami. That's still really important. They're really important players doing a lot here. And I just also want to call out, there's also the longtime companies that have been here that really contribute to the ecosystem, like Moss Tech, like Watsco, and many, many others. I would say the opportunity is to bring all of those players together and make sure that as much as possible that we are putting our efforts, our resources, and resources can be many things beyond just capital, but obviously that's a big one, so that we are aligned in what needs to happen in Miami. How are we going to tackle that problem? And how are we going to measure the KPIs of are we being successful and how we're measuring it? And so for me, I'm really focused on what we're doing with Tech Equity Miami, and it's to be more collective in our initiatives and to funnel the resources into the initiatives that have the outcomes that we're looking for, so that we're not working in a silo. Everybody's doing their own thing, but perhaps we can work together to go further faster. This fall, we'll be releasing our first impact report. So we've just collected the data and can't give too many spoiler alerts yet, but there's some really amazing impact there. And the other thing we're going to be launching is the public dashboard. So almost a real-time measurement of how things are going. And we are still working out exactly how that's going to look in the partners we're using, but it's coming along really nicely. One of the things there that Tech Equity is really working to do is to elevate the work that is happening here with the initiatives that are funded and the funders who are funding them. And of course, an impact report is nothing new. We all do impact reports. The biggest thing is who reads them, how are they digested, and so we want to bring a little bit more light to that, make it something that's a more living, breathing experience so that people can really use that data, ask more questions, see what's working, and also see what's not working, making sure that we are directing things to things that have outcomes.
Recently we had an event here with Opportunity Miami where our CEO of Beacon Council, Rod Miller, described Miami as like this teenager almost. It's still trying to figure out what it wants to be when it grows up. And I thought it was just a great analogy because Miami is a really young city compared to these other mega markets that we continuously hear about. And it's really growing into a major destination for these founders, for more tech equity, all of the things that we're talking about. And you've been a part of this ecosystem now for a decade now. And I'm wondering, how would you describe its evolution? And do you still see it as kind of a young startup teenager trying to find its footing, or is it getting there?
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say emerging is still a word. We are working on momentum, like a movement being something that is not only constant but stays put, and that that Miami is going to go into its next chapter, or its next era, or so forth. So yeah, I would agree that we are in perhaps our teenager stage. The word I would more use is that we're emerging, and with that comes evolution. And right now is kind of an opportunity where we're going to see where it's going to evolve, right? So now that there are the new players, there's more and more collective work happening. There's quality founders, quality initiatives coming into the ecosystem or being further cemented, which we're here already because they have more resources. So I would say that it's in very exciting time, and we'll see where it's going. But I think as an emerging ecosystem, there's 100% so much opportunity in that. And again, when I came in 2014, that opportunity was there because there was a gap because it wasn't fully formed. It was a canvas that still had room. And I do think that exists still today. And so, the people who want to come and build and contribute to the ecosystem are really going to be able to do that and have a real impact here in South Florida.
It doesn't seem that far away to me right now at the moment as we're talking about this, but I'm curious to see in those 10, 15 years to come, where do you see the ecosystem being?
So tech aside, but obviously everything is tech enabled. I mean, from the moment that I first came to Miami, I said every industry is a tech industry. So I see that, people grasping that more and more, and it not just being an ecosystem, but seeing how we leverage technology. But that aside, something that I'm seeing more of, which I'm very excited about, also as a parent of two boys who are 7 and 5, is it's not only a place where people are coming to invest and build companies and vacation, but it's also a place where people are coming to raise their families. And when you have that, you have people who come to really engage with and give back and be involved in the community.
Do you envision Miami being a true tech hub, though, by 2040?
Yeah, so do I envision Miami being a true tech hub in 2040? I think if it's not, then we're in trouble. But I would say that of almost any major city, how we encourage an emerging tech ecosystem, how we build the foundation for it, for people to have the skills, for the opportunity to build a business, to incorporate, digital skills, tools, training, is going to be really important for our economic stability. Rather than just purely a tech ecosystem, I think it's all about immersion of technology into the business ecosystem here, and that's going to be really important. Healthcare, fintech, the logistics, those are hospitality, those are big things here, and I think they will continue to be big things here, all of which are going to be very powered by technology, incorporating technology, AI, needing, evolving talent for those things. And so the better we train the workforce here to support those industries and companies, the more resilient we're going to be. So that's what I hope for 2040.
It's great. It's a great way to end. Thank you so much for joining us, Johanna.
Thank you. Great to be here.